It began on an ordinary Friday morning in Crestwood, Oregon. A town so small you could blink and miss it on the map. Quiet streets, friendly neighbors, and kids riding their bikes without worry. But on October 8, 2019, something happened that tore that piece to pieces. 23-year-old Mallory Jensen was last seen walking out of the Crestwood Public Library around 7:42 p.m. She waved at a friend across the street, stuffed a worn paperback into her tote bag, and disappeared into the night. She never made it home. Her family, tight-knit and rooted in town for generations, was immediately alarmed. Mallory was punctual, responsible, and never stayed out late without telling someone. Her mother called her phone, straight to voicemail. By morning, her apartment still untouched, bed neatly made. She hadn't returned. The town's police chief, Ray Alvarez, a seasoned officer nearing retirement, launched an investigation within 12 hours. In Crestwood, things like this didn't happen. And that was the problem. The search began with the basics: security footage from the library's exit, nearby businesses, and street cams. One blurry image captured Mallory walking toward her usual shortcut, an alley behind the bakery, but that's where the trail stopped cold. No other cameras picked her up. It was as if she vanished mid-step. Flyers went up. Volunteers scoured wooded areas. Drones were deployed. Her face was everywhere. But each new lead felt like a trap door, opening with promise, only to drop investigators into a pit of nothingness. Then came the first chilling twist. 12 days later, Mallory's phone was found, cracked and water-damaged, on a hiking trail 30 miles from town, buried beneath a log near Bear Creek Ridge. No fingerprints, no blood, no clothing. Her phone history had been wiped clean. Not a single outgoing text or call after she left the library. GPS logs? Deleted. How does a phone end up out there without her ever being seen? Chief Alvarez muttered to reporters. Either someone planted it, or she went there willingly and never came back. Both possibilities were terrifying. Rumors spread fast. Some believed Mallory ran away. Others whispered about a stalker she never mentioned. But those closest to her roommate Tessa, her brother Nick, and her co-workers at the coffee shop, were adamant. Mallory was happy. She had no secrets, but secrets have a way of showing up. Eventually, 3 weeks in, the town grew colder, not just from the oncoming winter, but from the lack of answers. And then, another clue dropped. In an abandoned shed near the Stony Ridge farmland, 2 hikers discovered a blood-stained denim jacket, a perfect match to the one Mallory was last seen wearing. DNA confirmed the blood was hers. But again, no fingerprints, no hair, no signs of struggle. The scene was eerily clean. The shed had no power, no traffic. It was a forgotten building at the edge of nowhere. How did it end up there? Alvarez began considering darker possibilities. Was someone playing a game? Was this person smart enough to breadcrumb just enough evidence to tease hope, then rip it away? Forensic teams combed through the jacket and the area. They found something small. A wilted wildflower pressed into the inside pocket. Mallory's favorite flower, as her roommate confirmed, but one that didn't naturally grow near that farmland. The flower, Queen Anne's lace, only bloomed in a few parts of town, particularly near the abandoned train yard. That was the next stop. Crestwood's train yard hadn't seen activity in over 2 decades. Rusted rails, shattered windows, weeds climbing up old boxcars. But buried beneath years of dust and decay was a message. Literally. Inside one of the boxcars, someone had spray-painted the words. The paint was fresh, probably within the last 48 hours. The FBI was brought in. Locals began locking their doors. Mallory's name trended online. True crime forums exploded. Everyone had a theory. Some said she faked it all, leaving behind clues to throw off those who knew her. Others were sure a serial predator was testing law enforcement, deliberately scattering bits of evidence, never enough to catch him. Still, others suggested something more chilling. What if Mallory was still alive, and being forced to leave clues under threat? 2 months passed. Winter hit hard. Public interest waned. Even Alvarez, grizzled, determined, looked tired. And then a break. or so it seemed. A local jogger spotted something odd near a storm drain 2 blocks from the library where Mallory was last seen. It was a single earring, a delicate silver moon charm, the exact one Mallory was known to wear. Tests confirmed it was hers. But once again, no fingerprints, no DNA, no surrounding clues. The location didn't make sense either. It was close to where she vanished. But how had they missed it before? Had someone returned to plant it later? The case was becoming a maze. Every lead circled back to nowhere. Every discovery left investigators with more questions than answers. And just when everyone thought it couldn't get stranger, it did. Mallory's library card showed up in an envelope mailed to the police station. No return address. No fingerprints. Just the card, slightly torn, with a sticky note attached that read, "She asked for help. No one listened." Mallory's loved ones now fear she may have reached out long before the night she vanished, and was ignored. Was this a crime that started well before October 8th? Who sent the note? And what did they mean? And if Mallory had been trying to warn people all along, why did no one hear her? The sun had barely risen when Detective Mara Jensen stood outside the Andrews family home, staring at the withered lawn. A week had passed since 19-year-old Sarah Andrews vanished without a trace, and still, the case sat like concrete in her gut, immovable and cold. Despite a statewide alert, dozens of search teams, and an influx of online sleuths turning over Sarah's life like a puzzle, they had nothing. Not a piece of clothing. Not a phone ping. Not even a credible sighting. But that morning something shifted. A neighbor, Mrs. Calloway, age 72, shuffled toward the patrol car, waving a folded piece of notebook paper in her shaking hand. She looked like she'd aged 10 years overnight. I found this taped under my mailbox," she said, voice trembling. "It wasn't there yesterday. It's about Sarah." Detective Jensen snatched the note and peeled back the folds. Scribbled in blocky penmanship was a chilling message. "You're looking in the wrong place. She's not lost. She's hidden. Ask the man who knocks twice." It wasn't just cryptic, it was taunting. A game. And someone was watching. The note quickly became the first real lead. The phrase "man who knocks twice" stirred something in Jensen's memory. During the initial canvassing of the neighborhood, 2 residents had mentioned someone odd showing up the day before Sarah disappeared. "He came by my house around dusk," one man said. "Knocked twice. I didn't answer. Thought he was selling something." "Tall guy," said another. "Wore a gray hoodie. Didn't seem right. Knocked twice. Then left." Mara tracked down a traffic camera from a street corner 2 blocks down. After scouring hours of footage, there he was, a blurry figure with a backpack knocking at doors. He seemed deliberate, almost like he was checking for something. They enhanced the image, sent it through facial recognition, but there were no matches. No criminal record. No database hits. Just a ghost in a hoodie. But then came another twist. A hidden second life. After obtaining a warrant, the tech team dove deep into Sarah's social media activity, text history, and phone backups. While most of her interactions seemed normal, friends, college chats, playlists, there was a hidden folder in her cloud storage titled Safe. Inside was a string of journal entries, confessions, secret fears, mentions of someone named D. D says he knows things about me no one else does. It's like he's been watching me forever. I told him to stop showing up near my house. He says he only wants to protect me. And then one final message, timestamped 2 days before her disappearance. D said if I told anyone, it would ruin everything. He knows where I sleep. Mara's blood ran cold. Had Sarah been in contact with a stalker? Was D the man knocking twice? Meanwhile, the forensic team discovered something equally disturbing. While scraping deleted data from Sarah's phone, they recovered a voice memo. The audio was warped, crackling with static, but a few seconds stood out. "Don't scream. Just listen. You said you wanted answers. Well, this is the beginning." There was no voice Sarah could be heard replying with. Just heavy breathing, the click of a lighter, and then silence. The memo ended abruptly. It was uploaded at 3:12 a.m. on the night she disappeared. A location ping placed the phone briefly along a forested trail 10 miles west of town. One Sarah had no known reason to visit. But when police searched the site, they found nothing but an old fire pit and cigarette butts. DNA testing revealed 2 profiles, one matching Sarah and one unknown. Once again, a clue that led to nowhere. A phone call from the dark. Then, just as the case seemed to be going cold again, Jensen received a strange call at her precinct desk. No caller ID, no voice on the other end, just the sound of distant breathing and faint music. She recognized the song immediately, Clair de Lune by Debussy. It had been Sarah's favorite, played on every video she uploaded to Instagram. A coincidence? She doubted it. Then faintly a whisper. She saw something she shouldn't have. You can't protect her. The call ended. But the music hadn't come from nowhere. The tech team traced the audio to a pirated version uploaded to a darknet stream 3 hours earlier. The location? A rundown motel just outside Chicago. When the team raided the room listed under a fake name, they found it trashed. Blood on the bathroom tiles, a set of zip ties on the bedpost, and a single Polaroid photo stuck to the mirror. It was Sarah, eyes closed, pale, a single tear frozen on her cheek. And behind her, a hand gripping her shoulder. Jensen stared at the Polaroid for hours, but it was something in the reflection, a smudge in the mirror, that finally struck her. In the blurred background of the photo, a figure stood near the door. Tall, lean, face obscured by shadows, but just visible enough to catch something strange. A patch on his jacket. Zooming in revealed a faint emblem, an old logo from Bradley's Auto Garage. A small shop that had gone out of business 4 years earlier. It had been run by a man named Derek, last name redacted in a 2019 stalking report involving another young woman. That woman's case had been dismissed due to lack of evidence. But now Jensen had a name, place, pattern. She rushed to pull old police records. And that's when the bottom dropped out. Not the first. Derek Sullivan had lived in 3 different towns over the last 6 years. In each, a young woman had vanished under suspicious circumstances. Amber Wells, age 20, vanished after telling her friend she was almost home. Lily Tran, age 22, texted she was walking to her car, never seen again. Cara Diaz, age 19, disappeared on a forest trail, last seen with a man in a gray hoodie. All cases unsolved. Each woman had one thing in common. They had recently reported being followed, and all had once brought their cars to Bradley's Auto Garage. Suddenly, the case cracked wide open. But this wasn't just about Sarah anymore. Jensen stared at the case files spread across her wall. The same pattern, the same ghost, and then her phone buzzed. An unlisted number. One new message. Stop digging, or she dies next. Attached was a video clip, just 3 seconds long. Sarah, bound, gagged, blinking in Morse code. One word, help. The moment Detective Mara Jensen saw the video clip, Sarah bound, gagged, blinking in Morse code, everything stopped. No audio, no background, just those eyes, silently screaming for help. Sarah Andrews was alive, and she was running out of time. The clock starts ticking. Jensen acted fast. The first step, decoding the blink pattern. She called in a linguist who confirmed it immediately. Help, G20. Hollow. G20 could mean anything. A room number, a road, a storage unit. Hollow felt less like a place and more like a name or a metaphor. But time was short. Sarah had likely risked her life to send that message. Then a second breakthrough. The tech team ran metadata on the video. Despite attempts to scrub it clean, a fragment of GPS data slipped through. Coordinates: 40.2438 degrees north, 87.6196 degrees west. That placed the origin near Oak Hollow, Indiana, an abandoned mining town, emptied after a sinkhole swallowed half its population in 1989. G20 suddenly made sense. Jensen's heart dropped. There were old grain silos near the collapsed part of town. One of them, according to a geological survey from the 90s, was labeled grain silo number 20. G20. Hollow. It wasn't a message. It was a location. A tactical unit geared up as dusk fell. The air around Oak Hollow felt wrong. Like even the trees had stopped breathing. Jensen led the team to the rotted silo marked G20. Its rusted door creaked open with a shriek like a scream. Inside, the silence was suffocating. Flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing a metal ladder descending into a concrete shaft. The air turned sour. As they reached the bottom, they found makeshift walls, sections of wood, chain-link fencing, and canvas tarps. It was a labyrinth man-made, likely used for hiding more than just Sarah. Every step echoed. Every turn led deeper into the dark. And then, a scream. Not loud, not wild, muffled, but real. They found her in a soundproof chamber, duct-taped to a chair, eyes red and swollen. When Jensen reached her, Sarah recoiled, terrified. "It's okay. I'm with the police," Jensen whispered, cutting her loose. Sarah collapsed into her arms. "He's here," she sobbed. "He watches from the vents. Please, we have to go." Before Jensen could answer, a voice boomed from an old speaker mounted in the wall. "I told you not to dig." Then came a loud bang, and the ground beneath them shuddered. Explosives. The tunnels were wired. Jensen grabbed Sarah's hand and ran. The SWAT team covered their escape, but debris rained from the ceiling. Metal groaned. Walls cracked. Screams echoed behind them. Just before the exit, a silhouette appeared in the tunnel. A tall man, gray hoodie. He raised his hand, revealing a detonator. Jensen raised her weapon. "Don't!" But he pressed the button. The tunnel blew behind him, burying him under rubble. The team barely escaped the collapse. Outside, covered in ash and dust, Sarah whispered, "That wasn't the first time he tried to kill me." Back at the station, Sarah spoke for 3 hours. Her story left the room frozen. She had met Derek Sullivan months ago. He offered her free help when her car broke down. First, he was kind, then obsessive. When she told him to back off, he began stalking her, leaving gifts, calling from untraceable numbers. One night, he drugged her during a fake apology dinner and took her to the silo. She awoke in the underground chamber. He told her she had to forget who she was and start over with him. He never physically harmed her, but he terrified her, played music, recited her journal entries. He had broken into her home long before he ever approached her, and he was watching from the walls the entire time. As Sarah recovered, Jensen reopened the cases of Amber Wells, Lily Tran, and Cara Diaz. DNA from the silo matched them all: hair strands, fibers, and objects like a necklace and a shoe. Their families finally got the truth. They hadn't just disappeared. They had been victims of a predator who operated in silence, carefully erasing his tracks. Derek Sullivan wasn't just obsessed, he was a collector. In the wreckage of the silo, a secret compartment was found. Inside were dozens of tapes, labeled with women's names, some known, some never reported missing. Some were just initials. Others had only first names, or cryptic nicknames like Red Scarf or Library Girl. One of the tapes was dated 1998, when Sullivan would have only been 16 years old. Jensen couldn't believe it. Could his crimes have started that early? The team started reviewing the footage. And in one particularly shaky tape, a girl sits tied to a chair in what looks like a cabin. She's crying. And behind her, walking into frame, is another man, older, husky build. He places a hand on Derek's shoulder. "Good job, son," he says. Jensen recoiled in her chair. Derek didn't act alone. He was trained, conditioned, and whoever started it all might still be out there. For more chilling true crime stories, hit the subscribe button below.